Good morning, and welcome back to the allotment. I'm down quite early, so it's very, very quiet. I'm whispering here. And it's a lovely, cold, but sunny morning. For the first time this year, I had to scrape ice off the windscreen. So, jobs for today. First off, priorities right. I'm going to get a fire going and get rid of this, rest of this sort of brown waste, a lot of twiggy branches and things like that from the garden, from the plants that I couldn't really save. So I'll get that done. Then I'm going to look to get some compost out of these compost bays here. I'm not really looking forward to it. You know me and the rats, I don't mix. So I'm going to be making quite a lot of noise. So we're going to get that done. I'm going to use that compost up at the top on the fruit tree bed that you saw me making last week. I've completed that now. It just needs topping up with some of this compost, but by emptying that compost it allows me to move the other two bays across so that they can get sat and settled over the winter period, and hopefully they'll be ready for me to take away last job before I move on to the front plot. So let me get my boots on and we'll get cracking, get this fire going. Well, that's got the fire going. So let's turn our attentions to the compost bays. I'm not looking forward to this, but I'll take my coat off first. I can run faster without my coat on. There is a serious risk to this, because if I see one rat, that's job stop. And I'll wait till Mick comes down. He's always down early in the morning. I'll wait till he comes down and he can stand guard. Right. That should have woken up, shouldn't it? Where's my gloves? Get gloves on. Woolly hat on today. And I even put, see Mick's arriving now. I even put a pair of my long johns on. Got different sets of long johns. I've got thick pairs, thin pairs, you name it. Today, it's only a thin pair. Right. You can see that they've been in here because there's loads of bricks. Before I do anything, I'll dig. Now this looks really, really good stuff. We did have some thistles at the back and I'm worried that some of the seeds have set in here. So I'm just going to have to be very careful. Hey up, we've got some neighbours. In. I'm not sure if they know I've got a YouTube channel. I think I'm talking to myself. That is absolutely brilliant stuff. I say I'm just filming for YouTube. I'm not talking to myself. There's a camera here. I'm glad you've come because I'm emptying compost bays and I'm frightened to death at rats. So at least you're here now, you know what I mean?
Give you a bit of confidence.
If they attack me, you can help me out. There we go. That stuff is absolutely stunning. Really is. If the rest of these are like that, I'll be absolutely made up. Wow. That is really good stuff. Fruit trees will really love this. Right, I'll get this up the top. It's a long old walk. Not for much longer, hopefully. That's the first of quite a few barrows, but it's going to be well worth it. So anyhow, I'll show you the finished job. So there we go, managed to finish that bed. As I say, it just needs filling up, and this compost is absolutely, look at that, beautiful. So well worth doing. Whoever inherits those compost bays are going to be very lucky folk. Yeah, so as you can see, that is finished now, and there's plenty of room there. Plenty of room. What are we looking at? Scaffold boards are 13 foot, feet and inches, 13 foot. So I should definitely get 3 fruit trees in there. Right, I better get cracking. A few more trips to do. Yeah, you can see a thistle there, look. You can see a thistle there. And no doubt that might have dropped some seed, but I'll keep an eye out. Little bits of labels in there. Certainly well worth doing. At the time, I remember I put a load of twigs at the bottom of this. So let's see when we get to the bottom how well they've broke down. Alright, back we go again. Right, one more out of here, and that should fill those beds. And then what I think I'm going to do is put a barrow on each of those bean trenches as well. It is a little bit twiggy down at the bottom, but it's got plenty of time to rot off on top of beds. I've been picking through to see if there's any weed seed in it, just checking it out, any roots, anything like that. But if any weeds do come through, they're only going to be new first season roots, so they'll be easy to pick out by hand. Like them, I just pull them out. Right, let's get this up there and rake to level, and then on with the next job. hopefully we'll get a few more frosts yet, some deep-seated frosts, and that'll definitely put pay to any weed seed that's in here. But I will. So now I've got this done. Next job is I'm going to get the dahlias out. I'm going to get those out and stand them in the small greenhouse. Just cover them over with some thick fleece and leave them to dry off, and then I'll clean them off, wash them off, and then store them away. I don't try and clean them off too much now when it's really sticky, because you end up doing quite a lot of damage to the tubers. So I tend to leave it in the greenhouse for probably a week, 10 days, and then I get the rest of the mud off and get them as clean as I can. Right, I'll get this finished and on to the next one. So there we are, all raked out, nice and level. I can sit there over winter now, and if the trees don't grow in that, then they won't grow in out. So, Ali, yep, a little bit more work, but at the end of the day, definitely worth it. Now the question is, and I want to ask everybody, will I be able to move those trees in December? They should be dormant. The sap should have stopped rising at that point, and I did read somewhere that a tree that's 2 years old has very, very high chance of survival when being moved. Anything sort of from 4 to 6, the odds start to reduce. But let me know in the comments, because I'm thinking beginning of December, second week in December, to start and look to get the trees out. Bearing in mind, none of them have been in there for more than 2 years, and certainly 2 of them were only put in at the beginning of this season. Now, if I'm honest, I normally let the dahlias get a little bit of frost and go black before I get them in. Get them out, should I say. Well, I suppose I'm getting them in as well, aren't I? But because I'm moving plots, I just want to get these jobs ticked off. So I'm gonna start and bring them in now. And as you know, this plot gets really wet, so I don't want to risk them rotting off. So I just cut them down, leave about a 4 inch to 6 inch stem. Like that. And normally I'd use a fork, but like an idiot, I've blocked all my tools in the sun shelter, piled everything out of the shed into the tool shelter, and I can't get to my fork. So it's going to have to be a spade, which I've left down in the compost. I'll go get it. Right, I'm back. I can see the shape of the pot that it came out of. So here we go. So I will just knock off the rough. I can't believe we're here again. Just seemed 2 minutes ago since I was doing this. That's nearly a year. So as you can see, you've got some quite a lot of soil around those tubers, so I think it's easier to get off once it dries a little bit. So I am going to crack on and get these out. Hopefully next year I'm going to be putting them in the garden area, and I'm going to be able to pay more attention to them, because I'm only going to have that area to look after in terms of the garden. What tends to happen when you've got a big plot like this, 2 plots, I work methodically from one end to the other, and then when I get to that end I come back to this end and I do it all again. The trowel system, if you remember me telling you, just leave the trowel where you finish and pick up where you left off the next time you're down. So doing that, sometimes you don't get round to deadheading and doing all that, and you don't end up with a quality plant. So next year a resolution is going to be to keep on top of these dahlias and see them in the glory. Okay, so I've got the dahlias out now, and they're up in the greenhouse. We'll nip up there in 2 seconds. But I think as I pass, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rescue these brassicas and get out what I can, get them cleaned up and pass them on to some of the family and any neighbours that might want them, and take a little bit more kale and offer that out to anybody that wants it. And then I'm going to get these beds cleared, and I probably will spend a good probably 2-3 hours just tidying this part of the plot, getting out all the summer bedding plants, the cosmos, some of the fennel out, and just making it a little bit more presentable. Tidy as I go, and then it's not a big job once I've finished and I'm ready to move on to the single plot. Right, let's get up to the greenhouse. Right, so that's the dahlias in. As I say, I'll let them dry and I'll clean them off afterwards. When I was getting them up, some of them actually divide themselves, so when you're taking them out they just sort of split apart. So there's another little plant. So once I get these dry, these will be great. Now what I normally do is I wait, let them dry, clean them off, and I tend to use sawdust if I can get hold of it. And we get some of these little small compost bags that gets dropped off when police raid the cannabis factories. Cut all the plants down obviously, and then they bring all the used compost here. So I use those bags, I fill them with some sawdust, and then put these in and then wrap them in newspaper and then cover them with some fleece, which I will do with these. So just to keep the frost off. We've been forecast snow tomorrow, apparently. Now, whether that comes to fruition or not, I don't know. But best be prepared. As I say, this is that fleece that's better than the normal fleece that you get in the garden centres. This is thicker and it doesn't degrade. So this will keep the frost off them until I'm ready to clean them up and put them away. You see me sat here like Marcelo Bielsa. If you know, you know. Right guys, I think I've done quite a bit today. I've still a little bit to do. What I'm going to probably do is go down to the compost bay, finish emptying that bay into, I'll put some in the runner bean trench, and I'll put some on the garden if there's any spare. And then at least maybe next week, if I'm brave enough, I'll tackle moving the first one and flipping it over. But I think I'm gonna call that a day today. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for all those that hit the like button and send lovely comments. If you're watching and you've not subscribed, it'd be fantastic if you did, and come along and follow the journey. But until next week, I will see you later. Have a great weekend. Take care and happy growing.